The Fourth Way Up. Chapter 1. The Strategy and Tactics of the Fourth Way. Gurdjieff reflected very aptly the situation of man in the world and society. A quote, "You do not realize your own situation. You are in prison. All you can wish for, if you are a sensible man, is to escape. But how to escape? It is necessary to tunnel under a wall. One man can do nothing. But let us suppose there are 10 or 20 men. If they work in turn, and if one covers another, they can complete the tunnel and escape. Furthermore, no one can escape from prison without the help of those who have escaped before. Only they can say in what way escape is possible, or can send tools, files, or whatever may be necessary. But one prisoner alone cannot find these people or get into touch with them. An organization is necessary. Nothing can be achieved without an organization." Gurdjieff insisted that, quote, "If a man in prison was at any time to have a chance of escape, then he must first of all realize that he is in prison. So long as he fails to realize this, so long as he thinks he is free, he has no chance whatever. No one can help or liberate him by force, against his will, in opposition to his wishes. If liberation is possible, it is possible only as a result of great labor and great efforts, and above all, of conscious efforts towards a definite aim. That is, the active driving force of a person's self-development process is their understanding of their wild situation. On the one hand, he had been indoctrinated from childhood by everyone who could, that he was a body that must, like everyone else, live its life, fulfill all that it was destined by fate to do, and as it should, die. For different eras and places on Earth, these programs varied slightly. The bottom line is the same. Live your life as established in this society and disappear. On the other hand, any sober-minded person is in no way satisfied with the idea of living like everyone else and dying like everyone else. He wants to know why we live, who we are, and where we come from. Where are we headed? Do we have to die? Or is there a different outcome? That individual who did not succumb to the mass hypnosis of everyday life and continued to search for the answer to his difficult questions sooner or later will find knowledge in the deep sense of the word. Initially, it can be unbelievable. Since the creation of this world, we have been conscious beings with complete freedom to choose where and how to live. Death was out of the question. No one and nothing had to pay for their existence. Objective consciousness, of which we are particles, recognizes neither slavery nor debtors. But in this part of the universe, remote from the absolute, the consciousness of immortal and ethereal spirits can be absorbed by gross matter. This results in entities that think of themselves as sentient beings, human beings. Human consciousness is insignificant compared to their original spiritual consciousness. Consequently, the ability to create is very low in humans. Man is constantly preoccupied with the problems of sustaining his existence. He has poor control over his psyche and body. He is dependent on everything. He is a slave, but he is sure of the opposite state of affairs. It's a colossal paradox. This is exactly what Gurdjieff was talking about. The first strategic task of the person going to the fourth way is to realize his bondage and unconsciousness. Your prison is your consciousness limited by material problems. You're a cog in someone else's machine. Don't believe this machine is God. Objective consciousness needs neither slaves nor cogs. Only a person who fully realizes his nightmare situation will strongly desire to break free from the shackles of ignorance and mechanicalness. It's the beginning of a journey. Now, he must find seekers of truth like himself. Without a group of like-minded people, there will be no development. You can only achieve some results, but can you see and neutralize your own worst manifestations, the false personality? No, and no again. Without a psychological mirror, the group, it is impossible to see one's psychological face, including false personality. We defend, justify, and love our flaws. It is naturally painful for us to know about our darker side of personality and to part with it. The following tactical actions address the first strategic objective. It is necessary to familiarize oneself theoretically with the ideas of the fourth way. Then one must, through the practice of self-remembering, see the reality of the waking dream of yourself and others, through the struggle with habits and negative emotions, to see the plurality of yourself, your personality, through the practice of self-observation, see the repetition of the same situations in your life, and to see the fact that everything happens and you are not able to influence events through the practice of observation. Realize that your consciousness has been largely shaped by your parents, the media, and the people around you, and that you have no ideas or views of your own, much less a real, essential purpose for your existence. Clearly realize the inevitability of your own death, and try to understand that the existing society is incapable of, and completely uninterested in, solving the problem of preserving consciousness after the death of the body. The second strategic challenge is to find a real fourth-way group. This is a very serious task, especially in the current situation. The search for a school begins with recognizing and interacting with three forces. It is a principle of the fourth way to view everything in terms of objective laws. In this case, the law of three. The positive force is your need to know and understand life's meaning. The negative force is a person's realizational abilities, the real awareness of his being, his ability, or perhaps inability, to assimilate knowledge. The neutralizing force is external opportunities to get the necessary knowledge and information about schools. The result of the interaction of these three forces should be the determination of one's aim. As a rule, false personality and essence are involved in a person during the evaluation of these forces, as indeed they are everywhere. The false personality will come up with something high and noble that is pure fantasy and posturing, while the essence will modestly say something simple and real. For example, a false personality will say with pathos, "I want to bring light to people." However, the essence will quietly whisper, "I am so tired of the stupidity and meaninglessness of life." The false personality proudly shouts about his abilities, "I have spontaneous clairvoyance." The essence will report, "All I can do is read, write, and imagine myself a hero." From external opportunities, the false personality will choose an organization that presents itself with pomp and promises of golden mountains, like becoming a wizard. The essence, which the false personality will jam down its throat, will react to the pompous school with some pain or unpleasant sensations in the body, and to some phrases coming from the real school. The essence will respond with hearty excitement. One or the other choice will depend on the sincerity of the seeker. The result will be to set a goal to study at some sort of fourth-way school. Of course, in this day and age of wannabes and mere rogues, there are those who use their view of the fourth way based on their personality to create their own schools. One such Western school appeared in Russia in 1992. We've been at this school for a while. The teacher of this school could not answer a number of fundamental questions of the theory of the fourth way. Of the variety of ideas in the fourth way, only two have been applied: self-remembering and transformation of suffering. Comments are unnecessary. In the West, and we have seen this many times, There are many fourth-way schools. It is possible that some such educational institutions are purely commercial structures that do not provide any real knowledge. The difference between the real school and the wannabe school is the presence of the keys to the fourth room of knowledge, to the core knowledge of the fourth way. If a school possesses such secrets, people will inevitably grow there as essences while neutralizing their false personalities. In the opposite case, only imagination and a sense of self-importance are developed. In order not to mistake the dead-end path for the true path, it is necessary, on the one hand, to have an accurate intellectual concept of the fourth way of development, to know. On the other hand, it is important to have a developed magnetic center to feel the truth. This book contains enough knowledge about the fourth way, but having a magnetic center is your essential asset. The magnetic center either exists or does not. The encounter with a school can also be seen as a process consisting of three forces. The active force is the one that searches, and according to the teachings of the fourth way, such a force is the magnetic center. The magnetic center is a large program that brings together many sub-programs interested in the ideas of self-development. This center is located in the intellectual part of the emotional center. The conduit of passive force is the school itself. The conductor of the neutralizing force is the information tool with which a particular person works. From our point of view, based on our observations, the human community is a gigantic number of biocomputers linked telepathically into one bioinformational network. People are unaware of this connection because they have no communication between the centers that form our ordinary consciousness and those centers responsible for telepathic communication, the higher centers. It is this state of affairs that allows a person with a magnetic center to seemingly mystically stumble upon schools of knowledge. If you have achieved some results by practicing self-remembering and self-observation, when you observe the teachers and students of any fourth-way school, you will see how much control they have over their formatory apparatus, their negative emotions and automatic movements, their attitudes toward money and sex, and their sense of self-worth. Many Western schools of psychology are quite reverent about money. Gurdjieff said that it is in matters of money and sex that people most visibly reveal themselves. These are the strongest, least controlled manifestations of the lower centers. Money and sex are the gods of the lower centers and the false personality. No one will deny the important role of money in any business. However, when money becomes more important than development, especially in some spiritual schools, such an organization has reached a dead end. Jesus Christ spoke very sternly about the right attitude toward money. No less serious consequences arise when the work of psychic centers is distorted as a result of sexual energy hijacking. That is, when the centers are working on sexual energy. Another problem in finding a fourth-way school is the prospective students' misjudgment of themselves. For some reason, people think that their teacher must be either Buddha or Jesus Christ. Well, maybe Muhammad. They won't settle for a lesser teacher. This is, of course, a manifestation of a well-developed sense of self-superiority, of hubris. In fact, such subjects are not capable of serious work on themselves. For example, one person stated that a certain school was not suitable for her because it required her to quit smoking within a year. But she's really cool because she studied with Bennett students in the US, and she's being forced to do such inappropriate things. Upon contacting another school, she stated that she might be a good fit for that school, but it was unknown if the school would be a good fit for her. It is clear that she is implicitly claiming to be a teacher, and he's not going to learn from anyone. For a student of the fourth way school, it would be wonderful if the teacher's level exceeded his own by no more than one step. For example, if a student is a man, the number 3, that is, with an actively working intellectual center, the teacher should have no more than the number 4, that is, a person who has taken the fourth way. If there is a greater difference in the levels of being of the student and the teacher, teaching effectiveness decreases. It will be similar to teaching a first grader by a university professor. A true school must cultivate in its students love for God, conscience, consciousness, willpower, self-control, humility, mercy, and compassion.